If I take a picture
Of course not, bro. Of course not. Of course.
Take it.
I'll prank you, so you got it. Take it. See you later, man.
Please post that.
See you later, bro. Let's go straight in his group chat.
This Imam just lost his job as an Imam of a masjid in Leicester. This is from a conversation in Jerusalem between this Imam and Tommy Robinson, an infamous Islamophobe who pretends that he cares about British and Western civilization, Britain first. He doesn't care about any of that stuff. And we're going to see and expose through this video and this conversation using his own videos from his own channel that he is Israel first. He is really, we should call him Tel Aviv Tommy. We also have Avi Yemini on the side, who's an IDF war criminal there on the side, and thinks he's a brave guy. So they're laughing at him, right? But let's dissect this conversation. And as a quick disclaimer, the Imam has apologized and for what he has said and for how this conversation played out. So it's not this really today is not about bashing the Imam. It's more about understanding really and exposing the double standards behind Tommy Robinson and really the right wing, because we're seeing the rise of a lot of Islamophobic content on Twitter, on YouTube, on social media, especially after the ceasefire. We know this is a new strategy by Israel to be able to, because they've noticed they've lost the whole world when it comes to supporting Zionism. So they've crafted a strategy that if we can't get the world to love our genocide and to love the Zionist project, let's at least get the world to hate Muslims and Islam. So let's roll the tape.
We're just understanding the complexity of the Jewish side and the Muslim side.
Yeah.
What's your view as a British Muslim on State of Israel?
I have no issue. As long as people are living in peace, if they have their side, they have their country, and the Palestinians have their own kind of safe spot where they can live freely without under any oppression or any injustice, then I think this is the solution for peace in the Middle East.
So notice he had no issue with the state of Israel as long as there's peace, which clearly there isn't any peace, right? There's a genocide that just took place. There's 75 years of occupation plus. But for the Palestinians, a safe space, right? Didn't even mention a state, right? A safe space. Didn't even mention a two-state solution, one-state solution, or anything like that, or even the Islamic solution, which, and he alludes to it later on, to be fair, which is that Islamic civilization, Islamic nation that allows Jews, Christians, and Muslims to live side by side together. As a historian, Dr. Karen Armstrong said that the only time in history that the Muslims, Christians, and Jews lived together peacefully side by side in Jerusalem was under Islamic rule. So let's continue, right? He's capitulating already, right? But let's continue.
You know, I wasn't expecting to hear that, because I didn't expect to hear many Muslims that would recognise the Israeli state.
Okay. No, I have no issue. The Israelis, they've been living...
See, Tommy Robinson's surprised. And if you've got an Islamophobe surprised, that's probably a sign that you're in the wrong direction.
thousands of years. They have a rich history in this part of the Middle East.
Where are you from, bro?
I'm from Britain,
Whereabouts?
Leicester.
Leicester, okay.
Yeah. And if they want to live in this part of the country, in this part of the region of the world, then they can. But what the issue of the mainly Muslim majority population is, as long as they live in peace together, as long as there's not this oppression and injustice taking place, then we have no problem.
What would you say if
If you look at throughout Muslim...
So see, again, peace and all this rhetoric and all this language that's taking place, which doesn't make any sense, right? Given what's going on, right? It's extremely tone deaf. And then, oh, they've lived here for a long time. What about the Palestinians who lived there for a long time? Again, it's all this disinformation, right? It's a lot of capitulation, right? And what I want to highlight is the first lesson. When you capitulate, when you cede ground in a conversation, you're not going to gain any sympathy. You're not going to gain any respect. Rather, they're going to come in and crush you. And you're going to see this.
You'll see that when the Crusaders came, then Jewish people expelled from Jerusalem. But when the Muslims ruled, then the Christians, Muslims, and Jewish people lived in peace and harmony.
As long as...
So, yes, as we said, right, this is true, right? The Jews and Christians lived under peace and prosperity under Islamic rule. This is a historical fact. Now, after all of this, what's Tommy's response?
The jizya.
Of course, as long as they pay the tax, which is, we live in Britain, we pay.
As long as they were subjugated.
No, as long as they live freely. If you read history, there was no oppression, there was no occupation.
Providing they paid special money for protection.
Just like we do pay our taxes.
But the Muslims didn't have to pay the same tax.
The Muslims have to pay extra. They have to pay zakah, they have to pay ushr.
Charity towards Muslims.
No, that goes to the community, Baytul Mal. That goes back to the...
Notice how excited Tommy gets, right? Like now he's like, he didn't show him any mercy. He's like, he's jumping up and down. He's like literally like, jumping on his tippy toes, right? Because he's so excited to just really just give it to this guy. So you're not going to garner any sympathy, especially with these people, because bear in mind, Tommy Robinson only cares about Israel first. And we'll talk about that in a moment.
That's the same concept of taxes.
Can I ask you? So, what would you say if I've just told you I've walked along this shopping street in the Muslim quarter?
Yep.
I've spoke to many Muslim business owners.
Okay.
Remember the guy on the screen just before. I'll show you guys.
They love the state of Israel.
Yeah, that's fine.
But that surprised you? It surprised me.
I don't think so.
But they said they're happy living here and they haven't faced discrimination and they feel fairly treated under the state of Israel.
That's perfectly fine. As long as they're happy, they're living in peace and security, I see no issue with this. And if they...
See, this is the problem, right? Tommy Robinson shows a bunch of people on the screen, a bunch of Muslim Palestinians who are living in Jerusalem. They're under Israeli occupation and they're happy. And Tommy's surprised. I'm going to show you something from the exact same guy he showed on this clip. I'm going to show you the full context that's on his own channel. And you're going to see something strange that's going to expose everything. It's almost an embarrassment, actually, that this guy has no idea. And he knows what he's doing, but he can't even do a good job of propaganda. So let's watch.
I live here, I work here, I happy here. Thanks God.
Thanks God.
Thanks God, right? Now you're going to remember this older gentleman who's been saying that he's happy living here. Watch. The IDF is
Dir balak.
Dirbala. Dirbala. What does Dirbala mean, right? Dirbala.
What do we say?
Yeah.
Are they friends?
Yeah.
Are they friends?
Yeah. That's right.
Oh my God. Anyone who knows Dirbala means like watch out. Like they're warning him. They're telling the IDF just walked by. And this is on Tommy Robinson's own channel. And this is the same dude that he put on this clip when he's speaking to the Imam, showing that, oh, these people are happy with the IDF and we're all friends together. The IDF is telling this gentleman, this shopkeeper, this Palestinian Muslim shopkeeper, Dirbala, watch out. We're watching you. Don't say the wrong thing. Will disappear you. That's what's going to happen. And even when he asked him, what does that mean? He put his hands like this. What does that mean? Right? And he's surprised. Surprised they're talking good. Oh, surprise. Really?
The IDF.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's, yeah.
So Muslim businesses would be friends with the IDF.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You can see in his face, right? Like you can see the fear even on his face. Now, this guy, Tel Aviv Tommy, is not even worth the $7,000 per video that the Israeli government is paying him, right? He sucks at even his propaganda, right? He exposes himself. This is the joke. This is the joke behind even trying to whitewash the crimes and to make Israel appear like a nice democratic civilization. And you're going to see this throughout.
No issue with it, then I have no issue with it.
What's your name?
Omer.
More Muslims like I'm here, yeah?
No, I'm just for peace. I don't like this fighting taking place.
What can I ask your view? The British government just recognised the state of Palestine.
I think that's a great move.
Okay, but the Palestinian Authority, who control the state of Palestine, they have a rule and a law where they pay money to people from the refugee camps, Muslims, to go and kill Israelis. So they reward people for murdering innocent civilians. Is that a good thing?
No, of course not. Definitely.
So how can we as a country recognise
very
them?
clearly?
See, not even pushing back, asking him to prove his claims, to prove his statements, right? And just taking what he's saying without any suspicion, right? On the defensive. And you're going to see, mark my words, the next scene, Tommy's going to go in for the kill again, right? But even then, like his statement that Britain should not recognize a Palestinian state because all the Palestinian Authority is immoral, and he makes up this whole story. Okay, fine. Let's assume that for the sake of argument. Well, using that same logic, then the Israeli apartheid state should not be recognized by anybody because they've launched a genocide. They conducted the Nakba. They've expelled millions of Palestinians. They put Palestinians in a two-tiered system. They're occupying the West Bank. They've demolishing homes and literally reduced Gaza into rubble, and have the highest number of child amputees in the world are in Gaza in just the past couple of years. So by that logic, nobody should recognize the state of Israel. But again, they don't care about logic. They don't care about reason. They only care about whitewashing crime, whitewashing occupation, because they don't care about the innocent lives of people from the third world. But you know what's even crazier? Tommy Robinson doesn't even care about the lives of British soldiers. There were 3 former British soldiers who went in to provide aid, and they were doing aid work in Gaza. And guess what happened? Israel killed them. Now, what did Tommy Robinson say? Tommy Robinson put out a tweet calling these 3 former British soldiers who got killed by a foreign nation, called them as cucks, and said, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Doesn't care about British lives. Tel Aviv Tommy. So let's continue. After all of this capitulation, what happens next?
The Quran says that to kill one person is as you have killed the entire mankind.
Can you
save one person is as if you have saved the entire mankind.
Tommy Robinson is jumping up and down again. He's got him, right? Look, he's getting excited.
I'm reading that verse.
من قتل نفسا بغير نفس أو فساد في الأرض فكأنما قتل الناس جميعا ومن أحياها فكأنما أحيا الناس جميعا.
Can I translate what you said?
Okay, all right. We got the scholar here who's going to translate what this verse means, right? Whoever kills one life is as if they killed all humanity, and whoever saves one life, it is as if he saved all of humanity. Let's see his translation.
Cause mischief, and they must have their hands and feet cut off and exiled from the land.
Oh my God. So what Tommy Robinson does is he doesn't even know what verse he's talking about. That's the next verse. And the next verse is talking about those who wage war and those who cause, who start literally killing people and doing all crazy acts, then stopping those kind of acts, right? But again, Tommy Robinson doesn't care, right? He doesn't care about facts. He doesn't care about truth. He only cares about his $7,000 check.
It's not up to Tom, Dick and Harry to decide. That is up to a qualified judge to decide. And if you look in Ottoman history, you'll find very few scenarios where that actually took place.
Can I ask, who's Ibn Kathir?
Ibn Kathir is a great mufassir and Muslim theologian.
Is he very good? Is he recognised worldwide?
Yes.
Ibn Kathir translates the word mischief as meaning not believing in Allah.
Okay.
So that verse that you just quoted.
That's his.
But you just said he's a great scholar. That word that you just that verse that you just translated, according to that great Islamic scholar, translates that mischief, not believing in Allah, must be punished by death, execution.
That's his.
Oh, wait, hold on a second though. But the Muslims came in and forced the Jews and Christians to pay this jizya tax and a crazy tax and subjugated them. But then hold on a second, at the same time, they're supposed to kill them. Which one is it, Tel Aviv Tommy? Again, see, notice the inconsistencies, notice the lies. And then when you approach these people, you have to be tough. You have to, challenge them. You have to expose them, right? But again, the back foot, you give them, you try to roll over and lie down and expect them to not step on you. They will stomp you and they will bulldoze you.
His opinion. Now,
you just said he's a great Islamic scholar, yeah? He's one of the most renowned in the world.
That doesn't mean I have to agree with everything he says.
So let's go on to the next clip over here, right? Let's continue, actually. Let's continue from, let's see what's next.
See, one thing is what's on paper. If you look at the example of how the Islamic society and the Islamic
same thing
teachings that they propagate and some of the things they have carried out is against Muslim teachings.
Are you an imam?
Yes, I am an imam.
So they go back and forth still, right? These guys continue to discuss over and over again. Now, what's interesting about Tommy Robinson is he pushes this agenda that Muslims are against others, right? We're here to subjugate the world, which is completely false. Again, we provided that quote from Dr. Karen Armstrong, a non-Muslim historian, right? But what I want to do is let's show this clip here.
Whilst you're here as well, to see all the sites, the Christian sites, the historic sites. It's an unbelievable place to come. We're in the walled city of Jerusalem, which the history here as you go through it, it's just I'd recommend it to anyone. If you get a chance in your life, you have to visit Jerusalem. But also, without making it too political.
So he's going to the different sites, right? The sites that have been there for thousands and thousands of years, that are holy to the Christian faith. And he doesn't want to get political. Let's see what he says.
Probably wouldn't be able to visit this if this wasn't under control of the state of Israel. We probably wouldn't have freedom of religion for Christians here if it was in the hands of a caliphate or jihadists or...
Okay, Tommy. All right, Tel Aviv Tommy, right? So again, look how he always at every step of the way has to insert that if it was Muslims, you wouldn't. He's telling his audience who doesn't know any better, right? First, he shows videos of Palestinians who are saying they have no problem with the Israeli army. And because they don't understand the Arabic language, they don't understand that actually the Israeli military that just walked by is threatening the guy to watch out and they'll throw him in jail. They don't know any better, right? People are ignorant. And he preys on the ignorant, angry majority. And then on top of that, painting this narrative that if it was Muslims who, the caliphate that had control over these places, then they would not be able to enter these spaces. Now, what's funny, if you really think about it, is, well, the caliphate, the Islamic caliphate did have control over this, right? From the time of Umar ibn Khattab, the Rashidun Caliphate, all the way until the Ottomans, and the Christians and Jews were allowed to go to their holy sites. And what is even further is he goes on and he says that that Muslims will subjugate others. The keys to these very holy sites are kept by a Muslim family because the different denominations could not agree, Christian denominations could not agree on who should have the keys to these sites. And so the keys were provided to and given to the Muslims. And every single day, Muslim family opens it and closes it up every single night. And this has been going on and on and on for centuries. But that's what they don't tell you. The other thing that Tommy will not tell you is how Jews and how the Zionists and Israelis are treating Christians in Israel, right, quote unquote Israel, occupied Palestine, when they are trying to practice their religion. So here is the dark reality. So let's show you this clip here. Okay. So now check this Tucker Carlson clip out. And this is interesting from his interview with a Christian, actually, a Palestinian Christian.
You see these videos of Christians, priests with crucifixes around their necks getting spit on in Jerusalem.
He spit on me and he touched me.
Are those real?
Yes, and I mean, that's happened before, you know, even from the first days that I was there. There'd be occasionally something like that. And occasionally there were graffiti put on walls and, sprayed on, Jesus a monkey. 2013. On a church. Yeah, that was right. In Tabka, where the multiplication of the loaves and the fish, graffiti there, talking about getting rid of the idols or something like that, some sort of Old Testament statement, and burning a statue of the Virgin Mary in parts of the monastery there.
You see these videos of Christians, priests with crucifixes.
My goodness, right? Again, hypocrisy, right? That he is standing in Israel, occupied, the fake nation that's occupying Palestinian land, and he is interrogating Muslims for Islamic laws out of context, where you'll find worse in the Torah and the Talmud. And then he's interrogating this Muslim Imam, who is not able to really stand up and really present Islam in a coherent way on how, you know what, like, things are better. He's putting the narrative, things are better under, you know, the Israeli, you know, Jewish state that allows everybody the freedom, allows Muslims to have freedom, allows Christians to have freedom, but Christians are mistreated. Christians are spat on. right? And Tucker Carlson faced a lot of heat, and I have to really commend Tucker Carlson for putting this out, because not many people were comfortable with this reality, this truth. And who is bombing the churches in Gaza? Who is killing the Christians even in Gaza? The IDF. So these are some lessons that we can take away, is that these guys are not sincere. So don't speak to them as if they are genuine and they're sincere in what they are trying to do. They're trying to whitewash the crimes of Israel and Zionism, and they're trying to lie to build a narrative against Muslims, to subjugate Muslims, to put Muslims in a difficult situation. Even they will shill for Israel when it actually Israel does things against British Army veterans and citizens. That's crazy. Now, last thing. I'm going to show you at the very end. So what ended up happening in this clip is that then the Imam ended the conversation. He took the selfie and everything. He went to go into Masjid al-Aqsa. And then, surprise, surprise, he was not allowed to go in. Came back out. And then Tommy Robinson berated him on all these other rulings in Islam, which you would never see him talk to a rabbi that way. And then at the very end, check this out. This is something very, very interesting.
With this going on in the background, then?
Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. This is
Jerusalem.
This is a special, unique thing about Jerusalem, is that all three religions have lived in harmony for the past 9-10 centuries.
Do you know what?
Okay, so all religions have lived in peace and harmony over the past millennia, over the past while, right? Let me just adjust this camera angle here so everyone can see the screen. So all these religions have been living in peace and harmony for the past almost millennia. Now you're going to find another gentleman, Jewish gentleman, he's going to interject, and is even further humiliation. Watch what he says about the chants that are going on in the very background when they're talking about, living together, and talking about, how the Muslims are the bad guys, but, everyone else has it figured out.
No.
They happen to be singing about the fact that one day there'll be a temple, that God will bring the temple back like it does
Wow. Well, it's been a pleasure meeting you, man.
That is the third temple. And how is the third temple going to be built? With the destruction of the very same masjid that the Imam tried to go into, Masjid al-Aqsa. So again, even throughout this whole thing, and time, wow, that's amazing, is we as Muslims need to have, either if you don't know how to answer these questions, just walk on, just be quiet, move on with your life, right? But if you're going to speak not only in your opinion, but what Muslims believe, what Islam is saying, then we need to really challenge and be emotionally intelligent, understand that we're just being used as the propaganda arm for those who are whitewashing Zionist crimes, and those who are actually looking to subjugate Muslims, and those who are using our own clips, I guess, those clips to get another $7,000 check from the Israeli government. So we see you all in the next episode. We got some next very good, interesting videos. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Give some suggestions and feedback. It's my first video, and we'll see you next time. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.